Hey guys, I'm Eric,
I'm Crystal.
and we are Dog Psychology and Training Center. Sorry we were a little late today. We just had like a family child event. Our oldest lost her first tooth, so it was like,
The fear and panic. Am I going to swallow it? Not if you spit
oh
it
yeah,
out.
she wasn't sure if it was going to be like, is this a near-death experience? What's this going to be like? All these questions, all this anxiety, and then it just came out when she was brushing her teeth. And then it was like, celebration! We have to tell everybody. We need to document this. It needs to go in
Several
an envelope.
videos,
We need to take a picture.
FaceTime.
And how do you not? How do you not? So sorry we're a few minutes late. Today we are going to be talking about co-crating, or having multiple dogs in the same crate. So Chris, what
Yes.
do you think? Do you think there's benefits to having two dogs in the same crate?
Nope. Very rarely. We have had one family that had a German Shepherd and a Yorkshire Terrier, whom they told us stayed in the same crate together, and we were like, nope, not gonna do it. And they said, but they've never been apart, they like to be together. And so this was, way back when, before we were even dog trainers, or like early dog trainers, before we could really like call ourselves dog trainers. So we took the dogs in, and it was cute, and they did fine together. But since then, we have also, it was super cute having this ginormous German Shepherd, and you'd walk downstairs and look in their crate, and the little Yorkie would be like laying on top of his shoulder, like on top of Dagger, looking all cute. Theo, talking about your dogs. Sorry.
Dagger. It was super cute, and I will say it is super cute. We actually have a friend who recently got a new crate and showed us pictures of their two dogs that, it's a new piece of furniture, so they were both wanting to try it out. So, we got some super cute pics. They're all snuggling together. So I get the, I get why people think that maybe the dogs like it just because it's cute and they look comfortable.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
For a short period of time.
Yeah.
But it's really, and maybe even the most of the time, but it's really that short period of time that we're concerned of as dog trainers and as parents. I'm sure you could agree that if you could have your kids have separate rooms, especially at certain times of their lives as they go through certain developmental stages and hormones rage in the body, if you could have separate rooms to send your kids to, why wouldn't you? Because the benefits are they can go to their room to vent, to release anger, to release sadness, whatever hormones raging at that time. Like, that's their space. They can escape from everything. If they have a sibling that's annoying them or pestering them, they can get away. They can just go to their safe haven. But if you have siblings that are cohabiting and they are getting on each other's nerves, you have to send one sibling out. So that one can get privacy, or send them to two separate. Like, they really don't have that zone to just. Mm-hmm. And as humans, we can actually cope with that because we know not to kill each other. Dogs don't. They're predators. They have disputes and they don't rationally think it out. They say that dogs have the average IQ of a 2-year-old. So if you think about a toddler in a tantrum, they're not thinking about everybody's fairness at that moment. They're thinking about themselves, right? That's what a tantrum's all about. They don't know how to express themselves, and they just get all angry and it all comes out. They don't really think about other people expressing themselves and how they think about it. That's just not how their brains are right now. And that's how dogs are. So when they have disputes in the same crate, and even if you don't put any toys in there, even if you don't put a dog bed in there, what if a feather flies into the room? What if a fly flies into the crate? It could be anything that could cause a resource guarding. It could be them just antagonizing each other. Maybe one dog's chewing on the other dog playfully, and then it gets a little harder, and then the other dog, growls back to tell him to knock it off, and the other dog didn't like it. It can escalate for so many different reasons, and it only takes one reason for you to come home and it be very sad and gross.
So what's your thoughts if somebody has two dogs that have been co-crating for like 4 years, mm-hmm. and they've never had an issue? Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts?
I would separate them. It's like asking a police officer if he would keep two people that have known violent histories in the same bedroom together, which they do it in prison. But they also have secure guards, patrolling. They're never left alone. They have somebody there 24/7. So if you can sit by your dog's crate 24/7, sure, take the risk. But if you can't because you're a human and you have to have a job and you have things you got to do, there's that one chance that something can go wrong because dogs are predators. And they don't have the capabilities to rationalize. So if you have a dog that's been together for 4 years, there's a couple different things as a trainer that we see and that we deal with. One, they don't really have an independence, right? They become codependent on each other. And you might think, well, that's sweet, but is it? Not really. Dogs need to be able to have friends and have family members, but they also need to be able to have confidence on their own. And we often get people that say, I don't want to separate my dogs, not even from the same crate, but from the same household because they've always been together. And I think that's a little, how do I want to say this without hurting anyone's feelings? Because I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not trying to point fingers, but sometimes it's more selfish, I think, because they don't want the dog. They think the dogs are going to be sad, or they think it's going to go, what's going to go wrong? They really need to get apart. Just like kids, like if you have a family and one kid goes to camp, are the other kids broken without them? They might miss them, sure, but that's part of growth, right? Stress is normal. When we separate dogs, we're teaching them how to cope with that healthy stress. And although that might be a minor victory, in the long run, it really has huge exponential benefits for their growth, their confidence, their own self-worth, so that they can react appropriately to certain situations, sometimes stressful situations that happen in real life. So I would separate those dogs just because it's not worth the risk. Really, it just comes down, it's not worth the risk. And the risk, the worst scenario, the worst case scenario that we have not personally seen, but we have had stories of families that have contacted us, is the dogs were co-crated or even kept in like the laundry utility room together, so it's still a small confined area or bathroom, and attacked each other. And one or both dogs have died. And that's not a situation that we want to come home to. It's not a situation we want any of you guys to come home to. So really, there's no risk separating them. If they have a little bit of separation anxiety, that's a healthy stress that a professional can help you work out. But that separation anxiety is a healthy stress. They just need to learn how to cope with it, right? It can be an unhealthy stress if you don't teach them how to cope with it, and then it gets worse and worse, yes. But it is a healthy part of life to go through that separation. Just like we wean puppies away from their mommy and they get taken out to a new home, that's a healthy stress. It's still sad. The puppy still misses their parent, their mom, their siblings. They still have that stress, but it's a good stress.
I would say that, and tell me if you would agree with this, but having two dogs in the same crate, in a sense, almost kind of negates a lot of the purpose of having a crate for a dog, in the sense of like being able to, and Crystal's kind of touched on this, I think, but just being able to decompress, having a space like, a lot of people talk about nowadays with humans, like it's very important to just, like people talk about meditation or just quiet time or time to yourself, so that you can sort out your own thoughts and kind of, figure things out on your own and just have some you time. But if you, without ever having you time to just chill out, and if you're agitated for anything, there's a lot of underlying things that cause irritation with our dogs that I don't think that we really pay any attention to or know anything about. But it could be little things like your dog's got seasonal allergies, and you had a stressful day, you were out at an event and everything was fine there, but they're just, they were kind of on overload and they're exhausted and they didn't get enough rest last night because somebody woke them up, 3 times in the middle of the night. So they could have things that have kind of compiled that they just have them a little bit more edgy, and without being able to have any time or space just to decompress, those things can make a lot of, it can make agitated and that's you know, some things that can contribute to a dog that gets to the point where you know,
It's suddenly lashed out.
right, a situation that's been fine for years, all of a sudden, like, they just, today I can't take this anymore. And you know, your dogs will typically be giving you signs about this kind of stuff, but sometimes they're very subtle, and sometimes you don't even realize it. So
you don't recognize them because they're so subtle.
right, your dog could have been telling you for a day or 2 days or 3 days that, hey man, I'm edgy, I'm stressed, I'm not really sure what to do with myself, but they have no space to do that. They've always got somebody bumping them, nudging them, making noise next to them, interrupting their rest. So yeah, I mean, it can be fine for a long time, but it's always
takes one time.
it's always a risk, and I think just considering your dog's overall mental health, I would say it's better just to have some me space.
So we've talked about this in a previous video or videos, but why crate dogs, right? What's the purpose of crating? Why do we crate dogs? What do we teach dogs the meaning of their crate is, or what's the purpose of their crate to them? For us, for our families that we work with, we teach them that their crate is their sanctuary. It's their safe haven. And so, you know, we get to the point where some dogs maybe don't need to be crated when you're sleeping or when you're going to work, but we still recommend keeping the crates available. And you'll often find that even if you're not intentionally crating them and closing the door and locking it behind them when you go to work, the dogs still go into their crate when you get your shoes on or grab your purse and start doing your exit routine. They'll go rest in their crate. The door's wide open, they can come out, they can go lay on anywhere else in the house, but they choose their crate because it's their safe place. You know, for families with young children or like elementary, middle school age and under, you know, very active children that can be a bit annoying. I'm just gonna say
noisy,
the mom thing here. Yeah, they can be
and
annoying.
non-stop.
They just don't stop. And so just like humans, we love kids, we have them around, but there are times where we're just like, I need to get away. I need 5 minutes to myself,
right.
And excuse me, and just exit the room and go to our bedroom or bathroom or whatever the nearest room is. And I just need to breathe. And dogs need that too. And so when you have young kids, especially toddler age, and crawling, you know, between crawling and toddler age, it's really important for dogs to have that release and for them to be taught how to escape. And that's one of the major purposes of crates in our family and with the families that we work with. When dogs get to the point where the kids are pulling on their beards, pulling on their ears, opening their mouths, squeezing their tail, falling on them, you know, whatever your kids are doing, accidents happen. And instead of having a dog reach that breaking point where he's, you know, done some like whale eye, so he's kind of like looking at the kids, but his face is pointed this way, but he's you know, kind of looking that way, that's whale eye, that's a warning sign. He's saying, I don't like this. Or his body language gets real stiff and he doesn't move. Maybe clamps his mouth closed and does some tight lip licking, so just the tongue comes out a little bit, you know, that. Again, those are all stress signals that are super subtle that if you're cooking in the kitchen, you're not seeing. You're not hearing them. They're silent body language signals. So, you know, they get to the point where they've had enough. They've tried every communication they, as a dog, knows how, and then it turns to growling and snapping and then biting your children. And so, you know, they'll say, my dog was always fine with my kids, always. And then one day he snapped. And that could have been one day that maybe the day before he was playing Frisbee with the other kids and maybe has like a compressed disc in his spine that would heal on its own, but he's just in another, you know, a more agitated state. Or maybe your kids are pestering him, because sometimes kids do, and it's just that breaking point, and then the dog snaps and bites your kid in the face. Is it really the dog's fault?
And yeah, I would say to a degree, every person, every dog has a threshold.
Yes.
And
some are greater.
Some are greater, some are less. And without ever being able to kind of decompress and take some pressure off, like, you just can gradually get closer and closer to your threshold.
Yep.
And I think you talking about having kids at the house is a spot on analogy. Just thinking about how I know I can get, and I think most people would agree.
Most parents have been there, done that.
If you can never get 5 minutes or 1 minute to yourself, you'll lose it. Like, you've got to have some moment in time that you can remove yourself from that stimulus.
So the crate, going back to those anxieties where your dog's reaching that threshold and he's about to snap, that's a completely normal stress of life, right? We all get pushed to those limits. You can't ever eliminate that.
Yeah.
You can try, and we do. All parents try to eliminate that. We also try to not get stressed and snap ourselves, but we're human. So what do we teach dogs? Well, instead of snapping, growling, or biting at kids, we teach them to stand up and walk away and go to their crate. And that's the one rule that is like never broken. No other dogs in that crate, no kids in that crate or touching the crate or pestering the crate. That's like the sacred rule right there. Like that's their zone. Nobody else can enter their domain. And that dog is free to go in there and get away from all the chaos. The door is wide open. He is free to come out whenever he is fine. And you'll see like our own dogs, they get to their breaking points where they would just stand up and walk away and we'd be like, where's Pastor?
Sometimes even when one of the kids is on them, they just stand up. All right.
Drop a baby on their head.
Don't with this right now.
Yeah. And as a parent, not that I like them dropping my baby on their head, because it happened, but I'm grateful that my dog's like, I'm done. You know, I'm done with these babies. I need to get out of here, and they do. And then about 10, 15 minutes later, they'll come back into the living room, and they're either wanting to play with the kids again, or they just go lay down somewhere else. Yeah. They're ready to resume the chaos of a young family. And that's what the crate's all about. So if you have two dogs in the crate and that dog tries to go and escape and the other dog's like, oh, you know what? You know, Castor's going over to his crate here. I'm gonna go ahead and join him. So he goes into the crate with Castor. It's kind of like if you are a mom or a dad and you need your alone time and the husband or wife comes in and it's like, hey honey, what are you doing? You're like, can you just leave me alone? I just need 5 minutes, right? That's what's going on in your dog's head. Like they're never getting that meditation, that alone time, that mindfulness to just relax and not have any other stressors in their life. So co-crating sounds great. Some people say, well, I just did it for puppies. Again, there's a lot of pros and cons. I mean, yeah, it's cute. Yeah, they have each other, and puppies are very needy, and they do like to have that social touch and interaction. But like if you're potty training and one puppy's having an accident, the other puppy has to lay in it, and the other puppy's going to either get desensitized to that and be like, well, I'm always laying in pee, I might as well start peeing in here, or
and it smells like a toilet all the time, so it's like,
so then that second puppy might start having housebreaking issues even though it was fully potty trained, or the puppy that is having the accidents may never stop because maybe they're laying on top of the other puppies, so the other puppy's laying in the pee but the other puppy's staying dry. And part of the crate training process with puppies is, it sounds really gross, but if your puppy pees, let him stay in it for a few minutes, like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, as long as you can bear, because they've already got it on them. And most 99.9% of puppies, maybe 98%, they hate their own pee and poop. Like they just hate it. So if they have to sit in it, they're gonna think, well, that was a terrible decision. And the next time I have to go, I'm gonna hold it longer and longer and longer until they build up that bladder control and they stop having accidents. If you rush them out and clean it up right away, they're like, well, that wasn't a problem for me. I'm just gonna keep doing it. So if you have another dog in the crate, they never learn that.
Aside from the developmental standpoint of puppies really need rest like small children, and how is either one of them getting rest when there's two puppies in the crate?
Right, just like small children don't ever want rest, but they need it. Puppies are the same. So again, having two puppies in the crate, they're going to play to the point of exhaustion. That's not rest. Playing to the point you pass out is not rest. Like,
there have been a few. Yeah, as soon as one wakes up, he's gonna be like, hey, and he's gonna be like, I ain't ready to get up, man. No.
Right. So, separating them, you're getting them intentional rest time, and then you can resume their playfulness when the rest time's over. So it doesn't let you have the control you need over a developing puppy's body and mind, and rest. And it doesn't give your dogs the freedom they need to truly be alone and rest. So that's kind of our 2 cents on co-crating. If your dogs have been doing it for years, that's up to you if you want to continue. We don't deal with those dogs, but there are those dogs that were born speaking English, that are perfect and do nothing wrong, and we are jealous of you because God knows we're dog trainers, so He always gives us the the dogs that have some baggage and need a lot of work. But that's amazing, and we're not going to tell you what to do with your own dog. You know your dogs, and if that's something you want to continue because they've been fine, that's your choice. We just know from what we've seen and from the dogs that we have dealt with that co-crating isn't worth the risk, and it's more important for dogs to have their own individual bedrooms to retreat. Not like a human bedroom, I'm talking a dog crate bedroom. That's their perfect size, that feels like a den to them, that provides them security, so that they can get that rest that they so deserve.
Cool. We have reached the 20-minute mark.
Woo!
So we are cutting it off.
Cut it off.
If you
That's
have
it.
any questions that we didn't answer, you're going to have to ask, and we'll do a whole another video.
We'd love to do another video.
We'd love to do another
Especially
video.
if we missed a point that you guys have a question on. So if you have any questions, you can post in these comments below. We'll definitely be monitoring them, especially over the next day or two. And if you do have any other questions, don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. We would love to do a next Facebook Live about a completely different topic if that's what you have. So let us know. We're here for you. If you haven't yet and you thought this was very helpful, please subscribe. There's like a subscribe button on either corner of your screen.
3 dots.
Yep.
Find your 3 dots. Click those. Subscribe. Thanks for the hearts.
Yes, we love hearts.
And then you'll get a notification the next time we get on here to ramble about something.
Yes, and if you have a family friend, that you know co-crates and you thought this would be a helpful video for them, share it.
Yes,
It's free advice.
And then you don't
Let
have to
them
be
know.
the bearer of bad news. You don't have to say any of this stuff.
Yeah, just let it be from our mouths. We'll
Yeah.
take all the blame.
Tell
It's
them you
fine.
didn't even watch it. It just looked interesting.
You said co-crating. This is about Susan. I'm sending this to Susan.
Looks like something Susie would like.
Yeah. So, yeah, do us a favor and share it with your friends because that's doing them a favor. And that's really why we do these videos is because we want to help you guys. We want to help families as much as we can. So, we hope to see you guys next week. Bye, guys.